Are you looking for a new turn-based strategy game? Well, I may have you covered. Yes, that's right. Crown Wars Black Prince has just released, and I jumped straight in. This video is going to be a first impressions and general gameplay. I'm going to try and show you uncut footage of the game so you can see exactly what you're going to be purchasing. Now, this game has been published by Nikon and of course has been developed by Artifact Studios. Now, this is rather expensive. It is a £45 game, and of course it is turn-based strategy. Now, it's set in the 14th century. It says there is a twist on the War of the Roses. You're going to be using familiar troops, with the 14th century, a real medieval theme here, but we are going down into the occult. The general idea of this game is to stop the order and of course grow your dominion and your kingdom. So a little bit of a kingdom builder, a little bit of a strategy game, and you've got lots of troops to kind of manage as you go through. Now, I believe there are 6 different classes of troops that you can have. Apparently, all of them are also customizable, which for me, I think sounds pretty awesome. Now, I'm no stranger to turn-based combat, but did he just stab me through a wall? Because if so, that's really not cool. Is that a bug, or was that supposed to happen? That's not cool, mister. Yeah, I do generally love turn-based combat games. We have an awful lot of them on the channel, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this game actually has to offer. And of course, I'm very interested to know just how hard the difficulty is. They do say this has a brutal combat, and when you very first start the game, you do have 3 different options to pick from. And I'm very pleasantly surprised to see that this actually has voice acting. Now, you can expect to find this game on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series S and X. It's available on PC, and it's meant to be set to release on the Switch as well. Interestingly enough, this game isn't on the old gen console, so it's not on the PlayStation 4, and it's not on the Xbox One either. But yeah, it is coming to Switch. It'll be very interesting to see just how well this game plays out on the Switch. Now, a point to note is that this game was originally due out earlier in the year, but it got delayed. Now, I'm hoping that delay was for a very good reason, and they polished up the rest of this game. Now, we are playing on the Xbox Series S for now. I will be doing the review, the full review, over on the Xbox X. So we're going to have a real feel for just how both consoles work and how they feel with this game, how they handle it really. What I've noticed, that I've been a little bit unimpressed with the graphics so far on the S, but I have seen that the X handles it just a little bit better. Anyway, let me hush my gums just for a second so you can enjoy this voiceover.
But don't lose hope. I'm offering you a new start, a small and secluded domain within the kingdom. For now, you need only know that I was a friend of the head of your family, and my name is Nicholas.
Now, we certainly haven't seen too much so far in the prologue, what this game has to offer. I felt like the combat was a little bit clunky, but you know what? It can be totally forgiven for that. I do feel like it was lacking any kind of tutorial as well, so some players may find it a little bit difficult if they're not familiar with turn-based strategy games. But like I said, there is actually a few different setting options right at the beginning of the game that might make it a little bit easier for you. You can hit that easier difficulty, for instance. Now, what we just had there was our kingdom. Interestingly, that reminds me a lot of Disciples Liberation. If you ever played that game, I done a lot of Disciples content on this channel, so it looks like we have kind of like a generalized kingdom that we can kind of like improve a few different buildings. That's kind of it. You're not going to really be exploring in this game that I've seen so far, at least. I like the look of the map as well. This looks to be like the troops that we have available for ourselves, and of course the different classes that we have too. Gotta be honest, I love these Beastmaster class. The bear, the dog, I think that could be really cool. Acting almost as an extra unit in a battle, surely that can only be a good thing. I like the look of those knights as well. Good old mace and shield. And of course a sword and shield. That's kind of cool. Kind of need a great sword. That would be cool. Or a warhammer. Unit with a warhammer. Well, I'd like that. Not exactly historically correct, however. Um, it looks as though this map's going to litter with, different objectives. And from what I read up about this game, those objectives are going to be like almost on a time limit. So there's a very good chance that we might not actually be able to complete every single objectives, because of course you have to fast forward time in order to get to these places. So some of them may be a lot of time sensitive, so you may not be able to complete everything, which I think is going to be interesting. Having to make those decisions kind of just adds an extra of strategy to your game. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it actually plays out in the late game. And of course, we've just spawned into a brand new mission. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't have like a free roam. It seems to be all turn-based, which is fine, but on bigger maps could get really tedious. At the same time, though, like right now, me being able to like split up my troops before the battles even began, we can tell already that you kind of like, we haven't been detected yet, air quotes, detected. So we're able to like move our troops kind of like in the area and try and move around without being seen. I guess when we are seen, that's when combat is gonna start. But yeah, it's a kind of a flip of a coin. On one hand, you don't like it. On the other hand, it's an interesting one. It just means it's going to be a slower game, a slower paced game because of that. Because as you can see, not only are we having to move our troops in turn, but we're watching their troops kind of patrol as well. So it's a little bit slower than I think a lot of modern turn-based combat games actually are, because they seem to be mixing in a lot of free movement in with these turn-based combat. Yeah, interesting. I like the bear. I like the fact that we right at the beginning of the game we have a bear. I also think it's an interesting choice how they've kind of given us all of the different troop classes right at the beginning of the game as well. It looked like we had already quite a hefty roster, rather than allowing us to kind of recruit people within, like, I don't know, a story or whatever. I think that's an interesting choice. Ah, there we go. We've been seen now. We have been spotted. I think popping my archer up here was a good idea. Give up. At least we're not missing. I think if we were playing XCOM, we would have missed at least one of those shots. Now, strangely enough, when I'm looking around this game, it did mention XCOM and referring to XCOM style of game. Now, XCOM is notoriously difficult in places, so I do wonder just how hard this game is going to be, because I think sometimes these games are a little bit too easy, so it'd be nice to see a bit of a challenge here. Looks like we have a movement point, and then we also have our ability points where we can make like an action. We got 2 action points and a movement. which is kind of a standard thing in these games, to be fair. So nothing new there. Definitely not bad. Nice to have a bit of familiarity in games. You see, we have a range of actions that we can take at the bottom of our screen there. I kind of wish there was a way to speed up actions, though. Again, in most games like this, we do tend to have that kind of an option. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to appear in Crown Wars: A Black Prince. Now, I've had my eye on this game for a little while now, so I'm really excited to see it finally hit the consoles. I did buy my version, my copy of this game, so I'm looking forward to putting out a full review later. Of course, I wish it was beforehand or, you know, on the nose when this game released, but unfortunately, I'm having to play it as you guys are as well. And of course, I will get that video out as soon as possible, as soon as I feel like I put in enough time to give a full feel of what it has to offer. I'm gonna say, to be honest with you, I just love turn-based games. So given another opportunity to dive in, I also love medieval history. So being able to, you know, jump in that 100-Year War era in France, it's an interesting one. I'm happy to see what they do, what they change a little bit. Archers have got to be king though, right? You get yourself a good few archers, you should be able to absolutely decimate the battlefield. I wonder just how overpowered they are and how overpowered we can make them, because from what I've seen, we can actually change the weapons that our different classes actually have. So for instance, a Beastmaster doesn't have to have an axe or a sword or a dagger or one of each. A Beastmaster can actually have a bow or a crossbow. I kind of like these like executions. Now, we are, of course, about half an hour, well, probably more than that now into the game. And a couple of times it seems to happen at random events where you'll go into this animation, this execution style animation. And I've got to admit, it's kind of cool because every single class seems to have their own type of execution. So, be interesting to see just how many of those are in the game, whether they get a bit too repetitive, or just how cool, I guess, they last. Oh, we just ran over a fire. Well, that's not good, is it? Yes. We burned ourselves. We got some damage that we really didn't have to get. The hunt is on. And the pathfinding is so clever that we've done it again with a second character. That's really annoying. But hey, I guess we now know that the AI isn't exactly the smartest in this game, but it's fine. We can totally forgive them. Honestly, first impressions of this game so far, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what the rest of this game holds, whether they brought any new ingenuity to the genre, whether it's just a carbon cutout of other games, but more importantly, what this story actually has to offer too, and whether it has enough to warrant the money and, of course, the investment of time. So far, though, yeah, I'm totally on board. I will let you know, of course, whether I believe it's worth it or not in the full review. But for now, hopefully you guys have enjoyed what you've watched. If you have, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Of course, if you are currently playing this game or thinking about playing this game, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, whether you're, actually going to put it in and buy it, whether you think it's worth it. It'd just be helpful for the rest of the community to know, the rest of those thoughts. We also have an active and growing Discord, guys. So if you want to join the Discord and actually, chat with me about this game, feel free. The link is down in the description. Honestly, I can't get enough of using this bear. I think he is bloody sick, and I really hope that permadeath isn't in this game, because I would be gutted to lose my bear. But until next time, guys, I've been a monk, we've been a Critic Curious, and I will see you in the next video real soon. Until then, take it easy, and of course, happy gaming.